Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review from the 11th of May 2022. So, I'm doing a review single today. So, I'm going to run through the card as always, give you some thoughts, some opinions, and anything really. I'm an AEW fan, so it's all constructive criticism. This we're not there to bury AEW, but if they stay, I think being done well, then I'll mention that. So okay, without further ado, the first match on the card was Adam Cole versus Dax Howard in the Owen Cup. This was just a very good match. Really, nothing much to say about this match. Just good wrestling match, good old school type of wrestling match. Really, so really good. Yeah, this tournament is actually very much like that. What I was thinking, it's very much like a real wrestling tournament, whereas not really gimmicky really. So I think that's it's quite different, quite good actually. So let's see how things go. Yeah, very good match, nice opening match as well. So uh, last couple of weeks have been kind of underwhelming, but good start to the show that. So we then moved on to CM Punk against John Silver. Again, another quite good match really. What I was thinking though is that John Silver is kind of a bit of a talent really, and they've never really done anything with him really, at all, which kind of surprising really when there's other people on the card who are getting, a bit of a push and stuff. But I'd be kind of tidying up his gimmick a little bit because I think he's an interesting guy, and I think you could do something with him if you marketed this guy, well. So obviously Punk won the match, which you'd expect because he's building for the title, hopefully to get the title, hopefully. Yeah, so Punk's the real champ, the uncrowned champion, really. As we've talked about before, Adam Page is very, very underwhelming as a champion. Very, very underwhelming, in fact. So, yeah, looking for CM Punk to take that belt and hopefully take AEW to, some sort of heights, really, rather than Adam Page taking him to no heights at all. So, yeah, good match. Just thinking to myself that, John Silver, maybe do something with John Silver, because and really the Dark Order, really, ever since they became face, really, kind of been a bit of a nothing group when they had quite a bit of potential at the beginning. So let's do something with them maybe. So straight on then to Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Hayter looks really, looks really good. Really, I like the look of Jamie Hayter a lot. Potentially, a very big star. So teasing a split between them, which I think this has kind of been teased for a little while. But I do like that about AEW, that they actually, they think a bit more long term. Sometimes they don't pull the trigger on it, for a while. But I don't really mind that. So it gives you something to think about, and I think potentially this is this could be a nice little feud. And as I said, I do like Jamie Hayter. If you're wanting to push someone, I think she's got it all really. She's got the look, she's got the size, talent, very charismatic as well. So yeah, I like a lot. So yeah, more to come from them, I think. Then we had a match then with Danhausen debut against for Danhausen against Tony Nese. So this was a really, really surprising. I don't even know if you call it a match, really. Because technically it was. Tony Nese got the winning seconds, really. Seems like 30 seconds or something. Yeah, I like Tony Nese. I think he looks decent. He looks like he actually cares about how he looks, which is some of the AEW people don't really seem to care really anymore. I was just surprised though that they didn't give Danhausen anything in this match because we've never seen him. This is his debut. We've never seen him wrestle, and apparently he can wrestle a little bit. So I was just surprised that they didn't get something in on on Tony Nese. I think, I don't disagree with Tony Nese getting a win. I think, he's potentially a decent, mid-card kind of guy. But I was just surprised about that, really. So maybe the pencil Danhausen is just a character rather than actually an in-ring performer. So, yeah, just kind of surprised about that. And Hook aligning at the end, of course, with Danhausen. I'm not sure how that's going to work, really. I mean, the fans presumably might like it, but it doesn't really fit with who Hook is, really. Meant to be no-nonsense type of guy. Danhausen's kind of a comedy character, really. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that, really. I mean, it's interesting, I suppose, if nothing else, but I don't really think it's fitting in with who Hook is, really. So, I don't think sometimes these things aren't thought out that well. Sometimes I think it's just to pop a crowd or a bit of a rating somewhere. Whereas I think you need to look at the character and who the character is, and does it fit with the character, really? Because you're trying to develop the characters at the end of the day, really. So, yeah, that was I didn't mind the match, really. It was, but I just thought, at least give Danhausen something in the match. But so very strange that. So yeah, strange decision. Anyway, moving on. So we then had a very interesting video package of MJF, kind of like Dark Side of the Ring, like it was the theme. It was kind of interesting, really. I mean, it felt like a bit of an advert for obviously Dark Side of the Ring. So yeah, it was different, and and MJF seems to be got involved in these different types of things. So maybe he has some input into them. I don't know, but yeah, I like things that are different and unique. So it was quite an interesting thing to watch. That some random stuff on there as well, where you had Taz and Jake for some reason. Don't know what relevance that has, but why not? Barry Horowitz was there as a legendary Jewish wrestler. He said, don't understand the point of that either, and I also don't understand why religion in relation to MGF is important. They've mentioned it on a number of occasions now, and I don't really understand why. Presumably, someone behind the scenes or on the network thinks it's a good idea, but I don't remember them doing this religion card with other wrestlers. So I just find it very strange, and I don't know why you would do that, really. I think it's probably somebody in the network, I think, that's probably pushing this sort of thing, but I don't know. But I just find it very strange. So anyway, we moved on then to the MGF contract signing. Yeah, MGF's just a big star, probably the big one of the biggest in AEW, certainly. Must watch TV, whatever he does, really, even if it's just a contract signing. They're certainly one of the best talkers as well in AEW by quite a long way. There's not that many people on his level, really. So yeah, I mean, he mentioned another line about the guy in the back doesn't want me to talk about 2024, which is obviously relating to his contract, which I thought was interesting. This would indicate to me that he's probably staying. I mean, Tony Khan seems to let people do what they want, but I can't imagine him allowing MGF to go on camera and bury him in front of the crowd. That would seem a bit ridiculous, really. But I don't know. I mean, Cody Rhodes left, didn't he? So who can say? But yeah, and MGF was in his hometown as well, which I thought this was nice. I've talked about this before, that AEW do this where they always play to the crowd, and obviously MGF was the home guy and was the face here, and Wardlow was getting booed, so I like that. Whereas if it was the other place, they'd be trying to pipe in crowd noise, so people were booing or cheering for the people that they wanted. So I like this about AEW, that they do let things become more organic. So that's probably going to be a good thing for AEW going forward because they're pushing some people who aren't up to it. So hopefully they'll realise when the crowd basically is dead with these people and they'll change course. Whereas the other players would just kind of ignore it and just keep pushing them forever. So yeah, I like this. Getting a really good segment, and it was interesting to see obviously MGF as a face again. Very very popular, and it was just a real nice turn things on its head. So yeah, I like it. After that, we had the Samoa Joe interview. Samoa Joe again looks really legit, and he's a worthy addition to AEW because he looks really like proper legit, and yeah, and no nonsense, and everything looks real, which is you can't say that for everybody. So I like that. The Joker's going to be interesting, whoever the Joker is that they're bringing. Only thing I'm thinking is it might be somebody who's kind of a big star, who's maybe jumped ship or whatever. And I'm not a fan of bringing someone in who's a star and just jobbing them out on the first match. So not sure who it's going to be, but I'd rather if I were going to bring someone in, a big name, I'd rather build them up to some meaningful match or feud rather than just kind of jobbing them on the first match, which AEW seems to like to do this, which that's pretty stupid booking actually. But we'll see what happens anyway. You never know. I mean, I suppose they could put someone over Joe again, but that wouldn't make sense either because he's kind of being pushed quite a bit now. Certainly I would imagine he's being pushed to the Ring of Honor World title. Really, that would kind of make sense to me. So anyway, on to a title match, FTW title match. I don't mind the FTW title really. I like this backstory on it. I like the history on it. Yeah, and it's a bit different. And AEW does need some more titles really. So the only thing I was thinking in this match was both these guys are okay in the ring, but Jungle Boy doesn't seem to move forward at all with his skills wrestling since AEW started really. Whereas when it started, the guy had a lot of promise. Obviously it felt this guy's going to be a bit of a star, but he doesn't really seem to have developed at all. So I don't know if it's I don't know if they've got some anyone training them or anything, or whether this guy just isn't that bothered. But he hadn't developed really in the ring. He certainly hadn't developed on the mic. I mean, he's still lacking in any kind of personality, really. So I just feel like he just does his gymnastic moves. He hasn't developed his skills or his wrestling much. And they keep talking about the guy is a pillar. He's not a pillar. He's a pillow, not a pillar. I mean, this guy is he's not moved forward. When you look at somebody like, for example, the other two of the actual pillars, which is MJF and Sammy, I mean, they've moved forward incredibly. Their main event, both them guys are main event now. Jungle Boy, no, he's not done anything. So, not a pillar for me, more a pillow. So maybe we need to make the a t-shirt with the 4 pillows where you can go to sleep. So yeah, there we go. I'd use that in a line actually if I was on. You're not a pillar, you're a pillow. Yeah. So anyway, then we had end of the match. We had Swerve getting a bit of heat on the Jurassic Express. That's kind of interesting. Setting up maybe a bit of a 3-way tag or something, possibly. I don't know. Maybe. Or a 3-way feud or something. I'm also looking forward to what hopefully will be the inevitable Christine Cage heel turn, because Christine Cage has just been very underwhelming, really. And I've said this about a few people, people who are getting on in years like Christian Cage. I don't know how long you've got really, so should be getting out of this guy some good matches and some decent feuds, whereas he hasn't done anything at all really. The Omega feud, um, yeah, that was really nothing really else to say really. Just been a bit of a manager really. So yeah, let's move on from this. And I mean, I expect him to turn on Jungle Boy and have some sort of feud with him. As I think that's the plan, but um, I don't know if you can save Jungle Boy now. Really, I don't know. I mean, if they could have one of these, I remember an old sci-fi movie where they could transfer personalities to different people. Maybe if they could transfer Christine Cage's personality to Jungle Boy, you might have something on your hands there. But I don't think that technology is available actually. So yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But this tag team main event, that they've got going now, it's not got any of the main event tag teams, which is interesting. You've got the Jurassic, which are all right. I don't mind them actually. In the ring, Jungle Boy's kind of boring, but Luchasaurus is interesting and everything. But they're not. These aren't the best tag teams in the promotion either. You've got a number of tag teams that are better. So again, you've got titles on the wrong people again. Really, you've got obviously FTR probably the best tag team in AEW probably. Probably they've got the Bucks and are very close behind there. Lucha Brothers are back now as well. Hardys are still together. You've got a lot of big tag teams really, all bigger than the Jurassic people. So yeah, I think you need to move. I think you need to move the titles soon. And obviously you've got Red Dragon as well. I like Red Dragon, so they're probably a little bit underneath. But so I'd be tempted to move the titles really. Maybe you've got a pay-per-view coming up, but I don't know if they will. I'm not sure. So next up, we had the Jericho Appreciation Society victory speech. Yeah, Jericho's always, he's a creative guy. He's the most creative people in AEW, really, I think. So he tends to be involved in interesting stuff all the time. So, yeah, I don't mind. Don't mind this really. The Combat Club came down as well. So this is setting up a kind of a feud, I think. So that's going to be kind of interesting. But there's a lot of I'm not sure really. Other than obviously Jericho's a big name, Danielson and Moxley, and the rest of them kind of seem a little bit mid, really, especially Wheeler Useless. So yeah, I'm not sure about that, but it could be interesting. Maybe they're setting up for some sort of blood and guts again. That could be a. I think that might be what the plan is down the line with this thing. So we'll see what happens there. I just think that Danielson's kind of stuck in this kind of meaningless tag team unless they give the titles to the Combat Club, which is a possibility, I suppose. But yeah, Danielson was on a big run, and then all of a sudden he's just kind of been sidelined into a tag team. So a strange one. So anyway, yeah, lots of potential storylines there with the Jericho Regal as well. I know they've got some sort of face off next week. Yeah, should be interesting really. Against Santana and Ortiz, seem to be I don't know where they are in this picture now either. Maybe they're gonna do something different, and maybe they're gonna go for a title. I don't know, but they seem to be just sort of knocking around again. Never seem to be really going anywhere. So interested to see what happens with Santana and Ortiz now. Are they free from the JAS, or are they going to be involved in this as well? I'm not sure. So interesting. Then we had an Owen Hart Cup match, ladies match. Tony Storm against Jamie Hayter. I love both these two stars here. Two of the best AEW stars, in my opinion. And I wasn't sure going into this match who was going to go over really, because I could see the argument for both really, both from kind of big stars. Jamie Hayter's more of an AEW sort of homegrown. Love Tony Storm's look though. Looks total like I mean, really looks like a star. I think AEW needs to take notice of that and think, well, how many of our female wrestlers actually look like stars? Not many, really. Think about it. So yeah, she looks amazing. So yeah, just looks $1 million. The crowd weren't really into it though. I didn't think, and I just think that they've not built these two up really that much. I'd like to have seen a bit more build for both these people, Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. Really, a few segments, getting them over really, because I think they have got a lot of talent. So I think that's probably AEW doesn't really do that really. They seem to have somebody who they're really, really into, and they seem to just go absolutely crazy with the push. But then other people just forget about them really. So yeah, but Storm won, which I didn't mind that really. As I said, I wasn't sure which way it's going to go, but yeah, no issues. I like the match. Might have been my favourite matches really on the show really. Yeah, very good. So I can't really see Tony Storm winning this tournament, but I won't be opposed to that. I think if you want to build a star and make her more legit, she looks like a star already. I think it's a tournament win would really elevate her, actually. So I could see that happening. Then we had an interview with Scorpio Sky. Yeah, he's not the face of AEW for me. He's not the worst guy in AEW, but he's not a big star. And again, he's just being pushed for some reason. I've never really known him get any sort of decent heat from the crowd. Whether as a heel or a face, really. And as I said before, I do kind of prefer him as a face because he's one of these again that doesn't really have anything interesting to say or doesn't really have an amazing personality or gimmick. So I feel as a he could get over a little bit better maybe as a face, but I just find him very uninteresting really. Not a bad TV guy maybe, but I just don't see. Again, this is one of the people I don't see why you're pushing him at all. So anyway, then we had another interview with Sammy Guevara, Ty Conti, and Frankie Kazarian. So this is the little feud they've got going on now with all these people and Sky and stuff. There was sort of it looked like they were thinking of turning Scorpio face, which I think would potentially be an alright idea. I don't think you can salvage Scorpio Sky. I don't think you can make him into a star anyway. But I mean, as a face, I think he's moderately more interesting. So I just don't think he's got the edge to be a heel. Don't think he looks like a heel at all. Yeah. So because I just don't think he looks like a good heel. But Sammy and Ty Conti, huge stars, and I don't know if it was this show where they had the AAA or mentioned it, the AAA mixed tag titles. I would have been tempted to sort of make a bit more of a big deal of that. I know they've got a working relationship with AAA anyway, so it's not like we can't ever talk about them. To me, this gets these people over. They've just won a major title in one of the top promotions in the world, really. I would have made something in that, made it, an interview segment or package to show something. I'm sure AAA wouldn't have minded them showing a little bit of footage from that. I can understand if they're not affiliated with them, but they are. So I just think you're missing out on these things when some of your wrestlers win titles in other promotions. I think it adds credibility to them as stars and to AEW as well. So I just think I know that I think they did mention it. I think someone might have mentioned it in commentary, not sure, but I'd have made a bigger deal of that, if it was me. But anyway, there we go. They are big stars anyway, and if they don't push these two people, I don't know what more you can do. These people are so over. I mean, they've got so much heat as well that yeah. I mean, as I've said before, I won't be upset if these people were pushed into the main title picture. Really, much more interesting than an Adam Page. I mean, if you want to have someone to challenge CM Punk, then Sammy Guevara. Maybe not straight away, but that'd be a really interesting feud. So yeah, something to think about. And then we went on to the main event. We had another Owen Hart Cup. Jeff Hardy against Darby Allin. Kind of a bit of a dream match, this really. Both of them similar sort of styles, kind of high flying, reckless guys. Again, just understand again the strange booking again for this match, where for some reason they waived all the rules in a cup match. Strange that when you're meant to have a cup with set rules, and then because the guys didn't like the rules for some reason, they just waived the rules. Don't understand this. Again, don't think it adds credibility to the cup tournament at all, where people just decide, well, I don't want to follow the rules on this one, so what? When AEW aren't very good at following rules anyway. But I just think everything's supposed to make sense and supposed to look legit, and it just looks like the wrestlers are doing what they want, making it up as they go along. I mean, they probably are, but you're meant to be selling the fact that they're actually following some kind of basic rules. So I thought I don't like that really myself. I like to stick to some sort of format. It makes everything mean something then, otherwise nothing really means anything. So there was a crazy bump in the match, which just like, whoa, WTF moment. But you would expect that with these two. So yeah, just a crazy match. Again, I've said this before. I would have saved this kind of match for a pay-per-view if it was me, or a main event. So yeah, but and the other thing when you put on a match like this, again, I just think how are you gonna top this, really? And maybe this should have been a regular match, and then they should have had the stipulation at pay-per-view or main event. That's what I would have done. So I think the normal match would have still been a really good good match, very good TV match, very good main event. So it was a good match, but again, didn't make sense again. Like most things going on, just changing rules for the sake of it. Yeah. So yeah, strange, but yeah, again, a decent match overall. So the card really, compared to the last 2 weeks, which I found very underwhelming, this was actually, or a few weeks before, I can't remember which, but seemed to have not been up to par for the last little while. This is actually a very good card, actually. And there wasn't anything really bad on it, really. There were some strange decisions again, like the Danhausen squash didn't expect that. Just found it a little bit strange that you've just penciled him in now as just a comedy guy, not even a legit wrestler. Found that was a bit strange, really, but up to them. Some good matches. Adam Cole, Dax Howard was obviously a good match. The MJF stuff obviously was really good. Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter match was very good as well. So yeah, there was a lot of good stuff on this show. The main event was good, as I said, just didn't kind of make sense, but you kind of expect that now, I suppose. So yeah, it was very a good match, definitely much better than the last little while, really. So I think we'd go for probably 3.5, really. Don't want anything that like, super amazing, but it's you can tell the building for a pay per view now because they've actually put in a bit more effort into what they're doing. So yeah, so I'd say 3.5 stars here. So I think we might have been 2.5 for the last few weeks. So yeah, it's definitely on the up. And there's some good things really. So let's see what the next week should be a big week as well. We've got a couple of jokers coming. Some more in our cup business. So yeah, it should be very interesting. So yeah, good show overall. Kind of getting back on track without being anything completely amazing, but there's a lot of interesting stuff. There's still the champions are still obviously very underwhelming, but hopefully after the pay per view we'll fix some of that up, and I hope well certainly the world title should be fixed up. I can't see Adam Page still having the title after the pay per view really, but who knows? So yeah, 3 out of 5 for this show. So well done really at AEW. It's we're on. I feel like you're on track a bit now, and I feel like next week it's going to be another good show. So that's it for this week's review. So if you've got any comments, you can put them in the comments of the video, obviously, and then we'll see you next week for the next AEW Dynamite review.